Hello. It's been a very long time since I made a entry, and I was feeling upset today, and I figured, you know what, I should say something on my log, even if it's just for me. But I think probably some people would maybe, I don't know, have something to say in response to this. So, I mean, things are business as usual. My pain is, it is what it is. I'm on medication and I'm coping, and I'm trying to stay fit as I can and keep myself occupied and not not have a completely kind of empty feeling, because one thing that I think is common among anybody who's got a chronic illness is just sometimes, especially if it's like a disabling one where you can't really work or have much of, I mean, you can have hobbies, but the truth is that depending on what's wrong, I have a lot of trouble with going places or being active because of my pain. And sometimes I get in a situation where I just start to feel like empty. um, I have a wife and a son, and I have a life, but truth is, most of any given day I'm on my own and I'm lonely, and days when I can't do anything productive, I feel like I'm just taking up space, and it's awful. So one thing that upset me today, and it happens to be my birthday today, happy birthday me, but I've been crafting jewelry as a sort of kind of, not so much a hobby as it's something I really enjoy, and I started doing. So I have an Etsy shop and everything. I mean, I sold just a couple of pieces. It's not really about the sales, although I like now and then making a sale. It's nice that when somebody buys something and they appreciate it and they say they love it, it makes me feel very good. It's not like I'm making a lot of money or anything. It's a nominal amount of money, but it gives me a great sense of fulfillment to be creative and to make something nice. It's just that maybe in the past couple of years, my hands have started to shake more. My disability is a result of nerve damage, and I suspect that that's what it comes from, because I'm only 45 years old today. I'm 45 today. So 45 years old, your hands shouldn't shake. Not the way mine do. And I was trying to solder, and soldering as it is a very difficult thing, not like circuitry solder. I'm talking about jewelry soldering. And I'm still learning, obviously. Maybe I can get better. I'm sure I could get better with practice, and I have done one or two things, but my hands shake. And I had to hold the torch, an acetylene torch with one hand, and drop solder chips with another, and hold the piece that I'm working on in place, and various things. You have to kind of use both hands, and you have to be steady, and you have to work quickly. And with my shaking hands, it's a fiasco. It is a circus act, because the pieces are falling, and it's a disaster. So I can't do it. So, I mean, maybe once in a while I'll have steady enough hands, but at that pace, I mean, an apprentice, doing this professionally, obviously I'm not, but I'm not thinking to myself, oh, I should be able to, but I'd like to be able to solder on a semi-regular basis if the project calls for it. But if I can maybe get to practice a soldering piece, maybe once every week or two, I'll never get as good as I want to be. And I don't want to be, I'm not aspiring, I'd love to be great at it, but I'm not aspiring to be as good as a professional jeweler. But I take pride in what I do, and I like to be creative, and sometimes it calls for this kind of thing. And it's a very big hit, in a way. It's a big disappointment to see that, in all reality, this probably is not going to be something I can really make up as a part of my regular crafting. Maybe in an extraordinary occasion where it's an easier solder, where the pieces, etc., they line up, and balancing and everything is easier. There's certain scenarios where that's the case, and there's times where what you're putting together and everything is a little more delicate, or has to be a lot more precise, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that because my hands always shake when I try, and that's just the way it is. And it's a real it hurts. It hurts a lot. Uh, it's just one more thing that the disability is taking from me, is now that there's something that I aspire to learn and become good at, and I can't. I mean, I'm not giving up, but it's not that realistic. I'm certainly not going to spend that much time getting frustrated. I'd rather do the kind of work that I can do and feel rewarded from it. But it really sucks because I had a lot of designs that I had been drawing, and it came time to start doing some of them. Maybe I have to find a workaround, but it really sucks because the one or two pieces that I have successfully soldered, I was very proud of it and it looked amazing, but it doesn't look like it's in the cards. So, and I just needed to vent this because it's really upsetting. It really, really is upsetting. So, I'm trying to do something with my time whenever I can, and to be able to feel like I'm achieving something. And I think that a lot of people don't realize, for people with disabilities, just what it takes away from you, not only functionality, physically, mentally, emotionally, the things that everybody talks about all the time, I'm sure, but it chews away at your ambition, at your ability to want to achieve things, because very often you want to work hard on something and learn and become better and create, and it's preventing you. So no matter how hard what kind of work you want to put into something, it's preventing you from doing that, and you end up failing at something, not because you're a failure, but failing because you're not allowed to even enter the race. And that really hurts. I think, like, if you liken it to like a professional race car driver or a racer, foot race, or whatever, anything, any kind of competition where you train and train and train, and then you don't lose, but you're like prohibited from even participating. That's got to be the worst. And it kind of feels like, I imagine that it feels like this because it's been taken, an opportunity is taken, and it really, really hurts. I know it probably seems, maybe, I don't know, this is not like you losing a limb or losing an eye, but everybody who suffers from a disability in their own way gets hurt by it, and some people get hurt in many, many ways, and not one of them is to be trivialized in any way, because I already had to close down a company that I ran for nearly 15 years on my own. I was fairly successful. I had built up a solid base of clientele who were absolutely loyal to me, and I was very I had amazing relationships with my clientele. I could no longer work, and I struggled and struggled and tried until one by one, it's like they said, you can't really keep up. So I had to shut my company down. So it took that from me. It took my ability to earn a living. It took my ability to run around and go places with my son. And I kind of developed this hobby that I really enjoy. It lets me focus, and it lets me produce something nice that somebody else gets to enjoy, and to be creative. And so one aspect of that has been taken, in a way. I'm not 100% positive, but this is like the 5th time I've tried to solder where my hands were shaking too much, and it ended up a mess. So it's a big disappointment, and I think people need to realize the scope of how your life is affected. It's just everything in anybody's life, anything you can imagine, in some way, one or more of those things, or many of those things, are just struck down for somebody with a chronic illness, everybody in different ways. And it takes its toll on a person's sense of belonging and there being a purpose for you to fight against the limitations, and to keep going on and trying to achieve anything, or to grow, or do anything productive, because you face this kind of like disqualification so often. I just wanted to share because it makes me feel a little bit better to talk about it. And comments are welcome. If anybody wants to say anything, I'd love to hear from anybody. Thanks.